Welcome to the In Pursuit of podcast, brought to you by CBHN, the Christian Business Harvest Network. These episodes highlight and celebrate those who are passionately pursuing their God-given purposes, leaning into our faith to rise and challenge the boundaries of possibilities. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to be joined by Bruce Wilson. I'll tell you how we met a few years ago in a moment, but I got to tell you, he comes with more than that, years of experience in building careers for post-secondary students. Through his involvement in various ways, he links careers in industry and software. We're going to hear a lot about that in a moment. Of course, he's married with two what he calls grown children, not just children, but grown children. And he's excited that he's very active in his church and in the community. Bruce, welcome, and thanks for hanging out with us today.
Shiraz, my pleasure. I'm so glad to be with you.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. We met probably about 2020-ish, at least 3 years ago. And at the time, one of my small businesses, folks, you know, that I operate 2 or 3, right? Well, 2.5 right now. And one of them trying to get off the ground. And, okay, how can I get some support to do this? So somehow we connected. Of course, you're with, like, your official role at Redeemer is what?
So I'm the director of our career center, but there's a number of things I have to do in that role, one of which is to look after our co-op programs. And I think that's one of our early connections, you and I, was with co-op.
So fascinated by why does this guy care so much? Is like other programs, it's not a knock on other programs. Maybe it might be a function of volume. Maybe they're just busy, but it was almost like pushing out cattle. You knew the first and last name, and maybe their parents' names of some of the students that you were saying, hey, consider this student and that student. Why do you care so much?
Oh, Shiraz, I mean, these are children of God. I have a small role to play in caring for them, and so I'm not going to miss any opportunity to do my best for them. I'll just put it that way.
And you're talking about enriching their experience through the work that you do. And I know that one of your personal missions is, look, if you're going to come to Redeemer, we're going to make sure that you have an experience and an education and a time that is on par with any university across the country.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Ontario, there's nobody really other than Redeemer that's doing what we're doing with such an expanse of programs and offerings and experiential learning. So yeah, I mean, we have this obligation, and I feel it's sort of nationally too, but I mean, we tend to think local, don't we? We are not the largest post-secondary. Yeah, so we get to know our students well, we get to know our employers well, all the stakeholders that get involved with Redeemer. We're connected. We know each other. It's a very valuable network. You can appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, after that first work term ended, we still stay connected. We still connect for coffee on the regular, right? Like, you've done some endorsements for me. Like, we still stay. So, ladies and gentlemen, when Bruce says, like, it's about creating that community, even beyond the initial engagement, I'm actually living proof of that. We literally have stayed connected. I've been up to the campus. Now, you're in this fabulous new facility. Can you tell us, like, what is the purpose of the building that you now sit in? And folks, if you haven't been up to Redeemer, give Bruce a call. I'm sure him or his team will set up some sort of tour for you.
Personal tour for anybody that reaches me. So this is a bit of a unique spot we're in. This is the second building on the campus for educational purposes anyway. And it's got a 3 responsibility outlay for itself. One is it's a residence. So a couple of the upper floors above me are students' residences. There's classrooms beside me, And then right here in the middle, in the center, is the Career Center and the Innovation Center. And we exist to expand what students can do beyond just the classroom. So for the Career Center, that should be obvious. We can talk about that more later. The Innovation Center is comprised of the Makerspace, which is a place for students to really exercise their gifts in a non-traditional setting. So they might be building things with a stereolithography printer. There's a green screen room where they can shoot
I'm sorry. I'm
video.
sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mind throwing out my ignorance out here. A lithographer printer.
Okay.
Let's go. Break it down for me. Break it down for me.
You know those one-offs that you really, really want to build? You do it with a stereolithography printer. It's basically layering plastic to make parts that you can then assemble in like a prototype of something. You name
Okay.
it.
So for my
Yeah.
layman's term, potentially a 3D type of printer.
3D printer. 3D printer. That's what a lot of people know it as.
Yeah.
Should have used that term. You caught me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not at all. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Wilson is, of course, an academic. He works at Redeemer. Of course, he's
Hmm.
going to use bigger words than the average bear. But one of the things that I love about what's behind you, you're saying Career Center and
Yeah.
Innovation Center. The concept of work is constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
And the defined roles by job description that existed perhaps even 7 years ago, they've all warped and changed. So I
Yeah.
love the marriage between career and innovation. How have you seen that play out in your years where you're saying, hey,
Yeah.
this job description that we used to place for, we don't because
Ah.
it doesn't exist.
So it's a beautiful thing because it usually comes from a passion that a student has, and we're going to
Okay.
commonly refer to it as their entrepreneurial spirit, but it's just somebody that wants to fix something that's broken. That might be a social circumstance, and it might be a business thing too. But they want to make the world different, and so we try and harness them. And steer them with the right mentorship and guidance and equip them with the right kind of tools to really kind of live it out in a safe way, because here we are, it's all about learning, and we're not
Yeah.
trying to launch businesses. We're not a launch pad that way. We're really just trying to give them a chance to exercise what they could be.
Well, here's something really interesting. I'm sorry. The pastor side of me just like bubbles up and boils over sometimes. And what's really
This
interesting
was going to
is
happen, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, it was going to happen. So there's we all know about the new wine, right? And it talks about the new wine skin. And what's really interesting is the Greek word for the wine. It's about new, never been here before, fresh on the scene.
Mm. Mm.
But the word for new the wine skin, translated is innovation. And it's really
Ah,
interesting
beautiful.
how aren't we all thankful that God doesn't throw out the wineskin? He
Mm.
reinvigorates and massages out the kinks and innovates us as wineskins so we can always and constantly be relevant, right? And ladies and gentlemen, if you're in a stage where you're thinking about going back to school or you have kids about to or in that age, if you're looking for that community that will always help your family be relevant through innovative mindset and innovative thinking, yeah, that's another reason why you want to give Bruce a shout.
Let me build on that a little bit, because I think there's
Sure.
one thing that we do that's rather unique, and that is that every single student that comes to Redeemer participates in a program called CORE. And what
Okay.
it is 8 courses under their undergraduate envelope that are specifically targeted with building their faith abilities. And it might be religious studies, and it might be social awareness building, and it ultimately caps out in a 4th year project where they're serving the community. And that's part of where we tend to play a little bit, is to bring in community ideas, problems that need to be solved, people that need help. And we put it in front of these young people, and they show us what they can do. It's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
and
a difference of game.
I've actually had the opportunity to work with some of your students and come back
Yes.
and help them. But that's a different
Yeah.
it's a conversation for another day. This is where you and I bonded. This is where I was like, I'm a Bruce guy. That's it. I'm a Bruce guy. I'm a Bruce guy because in your old office,
Yeah.
I sat down and there's this carving, right? Etched. And for years I had studied this concept because I love the triune nature of what was etched into your desk. Bruce, can you tell us about that?
Only if you'll help me pronounce it, because I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sure I do that
Avoda.
well. But
You know,
so I learned this from somebody who is not, I wouldn't call him a faithful person, but he had something going on for him. He said there's this word in Hebrew that seems to capture what we are propelled by, and it's avoda. I think that's how it's pronounced. And it has this dual meaning. It means both work and worship, but it means that work should be worship. We should be honoring God when we work, but it means that when we worship, we should put some effort into it. He gave us our hearts and our minds. Let's do it well. So this avoda concept just resonates through everything we seem to do here.
and the interesting thing, the third element of that is skill. It's putting the effort behind your skill to work is worship. And it's almost like worship is the outcome of when you put effort on your skill to develop it in and through the concept of work equals worship unto God. And that's biblical, right? We
Yeah,
find that in a couple of
beautiful.
different places in the Old Testament. And it's just powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we're in conversation with Bruce Wilson. He's in charge of the Career Center at Redeemer, but he sits in the Innovation Center, meaning that they're not that old, stuffy, and I'm not saying that guidance counselor offices are old and stuffy. My apologies. That's not my intent. But they are fresh. They're innovative. Even in their thinking and in their approach. Now, Bruce, can you tell us a little bit about what you were up to and what you were doing before
Oh, mm,
Redeemer?
yeah. Wow, that's a while ago. So I came to post-secondary from a different direction than most people. I came from industry. I'd come through sort of the plastics industry and the automotive industry, and I was doing quite well with that. But at one point, somebody grabbed me and said, "We need your marketing expertise. We're putting you in a software business." So I did that until, as we might all remember, when Nortel and everybody else crashed in the early aughties. Yeah, I needed to do something else. So I ended up at the University of Guelph. No problem plugging them. And I thought, well, what can I do? I'm going to help those students who were in co-op at the University of Guelph find jobs in software. It was a computer science program. And despite it being a downturn, let's call it a recession, we got all 160 of those students working that first year. And I thought, okay, this works. And I think I know how to do this. And you know what? I didn't stop doing it. I finally figured out a few years ago that it'd be way better to be in a Christian organization. And that's why I'm at Redeemer now.
Wow.
That's been a big shift. Unfortunately, a little late in life. I guess I wasn't listening well when my Lord was talking to me. So,
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think it was perfect timing. I think it's just perfect timing because then we wouldn't have met, right? So, I mean, you
yeah,
needed to like, that's it. We needed to connect.
yeah,
It's a beautiful thought. Could I apply my skills in a kingdom-minded organization? And, the realities, the amount of jobs available in that space is this
yeah,
compared to the amount of jobs that are out there. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's why a program like
yeah,
what is offered as Redeemer is so powerful that even if you're not in an organization that is clearly stated on the front of the wall,
yeah.
kingdom minded, right? You still have the opportunity to bring the kingdom with you
Oh yeah.
wherever
Oh
you
yeah.
go.
You students, I see them every day. they're working in secular businesses, and that's not a problem. We are, working with everybody, but I see them bringing their faith life into the building, and they are talking to their friends and colleagues at lunch, and they're being asked questions because there's something that makes them seem different, appear different to their colleagues, that they just carry themselves differently. They have different self-confidence, or they're just at peace more. And it's this sort of thing that starts a dialogue. And then all of a sudden people are saying, well, okay, this Redeemer or these Christians, this is something different. I need to look into that myself. And you never know where that's going to lead. Well, you can guess, but
Yeah.
it's a healthy thing. And I just love it when our students do that.
Well,
They do it
what
because they
else?
want to. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other piece that I love is when industry gets involved, right?
Yeah.
Folks, there isn't a dearth of Christian businesses. Like there are plenty out there, and we're thankful for the ones who actively participate in the process of the prosperity of the whole kingdom. And whether it's through a university and helping students, whether it's hiring the students, whether they, when they graduate, whatever it is, whether it's giving back financially, there are ways that you can participate. And if you're listening today and you're thinking, okay, well, what does Bruce have to do with me? Like, I'm just this career person. If you would consider uh, giving a couple of hours, just a couple of hours a month in a mentorship role, if you would consider just giving them a call and saying, hey, I might not be hiring, but I know an organization that might.
Awesome.
That connection right there
Yeah.
is so valuable. And I
Yeah.
think that's how we
Yeah.
all win, right? We all do our little parts to build that bridge across the divide, right? So if you have that, Bruce, what's the most ideal way for somebody to reach out and connect
Yeah,
with you?
and don't we all go back and look at how we first got started? We all needed a chance, and I think that's what we're talking about here, is give a young person a chance. How do they do that? There's so many ways, and they're not deep obligations, as you're sort of alluding to. Some of them are greater commitments, but you're going to get more benefit out of those. So, for example, we have an internship program in 15 of our 25 programs, where you can have a student working with you alongside you for about 120 hours per semester. So that's 4 months. And this person is going to be dedicated to what you're doing. Their objective is to learn from you, to bring their learning to you. It really is a two-way street on that sense. So an intern can make a difference in a social service organization as a social worker. We have scientists who can work in labs. We have English students who want to help you craft your message. There's all kinds of different ways we can work that one. We have co-op programs too, cooperative education programs in a couple of programs. The biggest certainly is business, and that's people who will come and work for you in a paid role for about 8 months straight, as much as 16 months, but 8 months at a time. And they are there as full-time employees, and believe it, they are indistinguishable from the rest of your employees. They are in there and they're really grinding it out because they know they have a short window to excel in, and they really strive to do that. So that's marketing and management and accounting. And for anyone that's not for profit businesses, we've got a stream that way too. We're pretty expert at things like finance and strategy. So if that's appealing, you can reach me here at Redeemer. I'm easy to find.
Awesome. Bruce, it was so meaningful for me to have you on because I was a beneficiary of the community that you created, right? I've had students, from your program work with me in a co-op, from a co-op placement perspective. One of them went so well that we said, hey, can we keep them on for another term? Folks, I don't know. I don't like, I could go on, and I do, but I'm not. Reach out to Bruce, connect with him, and let's see how they can help you reach the places and spaces that you believe that God has called you into. Bruce, as always, thank you But I have this one last question for you. One last question.
Sure.
The name of the podcast is In Pursuit of. If I were to ask you, what do you feel you're in pursuit of?
I'm in pursuit of an excellent start for every single one of these young people in this building. I want them to begin well so that they can serve well. I'll just say it that way.
That's the passion. And that's the reason. Bruce,
Yeah.
once again, thank you for investing in our audience in a worthwhile way. And thank you for the work that you continue to do to lift up a generation so they can realize their capacities and potential.
My pleasure. Thanks, Shiraz.
My name is Siddique.
Hey, it's Tracy Mighty.
Hi, my name is Albert Brandstetter. I am an investment advisor with National Bank Financial, and I've been an advisor for over 35 years.
And the CBHN community has allowed me to connect with like-minded professionals that have helped reshape my career goals with the added benefit of strengthening my faith journey.
And CBHN has helped me uncover and rediscover the passion for entrepreneurship.
And I have to tell you, what I have learned and gleaned from the others who are part of CBHN has brought me to new heights, not just in my career, but personal life as well.
Come to CBHN every Thursday at 7 p.m. and you will see the amazing promises of God that He has for your life come to pass.
I think you should take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, well done. A Passionate Pursuit of Purpose is now available. This book was written so you don't have to leave your eternity to chance. It's for someone who is a little restless and simply looking for their next move, but doesn't know where to begin. If you feel like there is still more in your core to explore, and you want to experience the fullness of what was deposited within your DNA, then well done. A Passionate Pursuit of Purpose could be the very tool you need to send you in the direction of your destiny. Available now on Amazon and welldonebook.info. That's welldonebook.info.
Hey everyone! Want to renovate, buy, invest, or pay out debt? We can help by providing the best mortgage that will meet your financial goal. So call Les at 416-723-1313 and visit the website lesgomez.com.
Thanks for joining us on the In Pursuit of podcast. Definitely follow us on our socials and consider this your personal invitation to join our Thursday night CBHN Zoom calls at 7 p.m. EST as we challenge each other to pursue the fullness of what God has for our lives. And remember, Matthew 7:7 says, "Seek and you'll find." We pray you too will walk in the fullness of your purposes.